Oh, the colors went bright. I think that's it.
Looks like we're here.
It does look like we're here. Here, there, everywhere.
Here, there, everywhere.
I think it was Rick Brown and the Troublemakers wanted to know if we were the elder moms today or the Eldritch moms. I'm going with Eldritch today.
I think it's an Eldritch day. It's an Eldritch month. How about that?
It's one of those months that started out and then there's slowly the tentacles started to come out.
Yeah.
It's never good when the tentacles come out.
Things have been very, I don't know, we started the month off in the ER.
Well, that was a little bit before this month. I mean,
but still,
it feels like it hasn't been that long.
And then I went to the recon, and we went back to the ER. Well, at least I did.
Yeah. And then you went to Imaginarium.
And then we went to Imaginarium.
Then there was more.
And then there was
medical stuff.
More medical stuff. So, it's been an interesting month. So, it's been a lot. So, and, yeah.
Yeah,
and
John,
fun.
Right. And you're I was wanting to come up and visit you, and now I'm like waiting until it's all good, and then I can drag you off and make you decompress for a little bit.
Yeah.
We can decompress together. How's that?
July is being remarkably efficient. It's being very efficient when getting a whole bunch of crap. So you can stop anytime now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm all done with the drama and routine for a little while.
Dull routine would be lovely. Not that it's going to last for very long, but so we have.
Okay, Dawn, you and I will have to talk about when birthday week actually is, and I will arrange things on my end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and take the time off.
Yes. Yes, I have been tempted to take off and do something for my birthday this year. Problem is I can't decide what, so.
When is your birthday?
My birthday's October 6th.
Mine's October 3rd.
And you're taking off to go
My daughter will be here.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yes.
Okay, so I already do have plans for my birthday.
Well, but I think at our advanced age, that October, and Rita's birthday is in October as well.
So I'm hearing the elements of a party coming up.
No, I'm of the opinion that, this year is kind of special for me. I'm turning 60.
I'm reaching 47, so that's
Yes.
not really a round number.
No, it's not, but I'm turning 60. So I get a whole month.
Yes, you do.
The entire month of October.
Yes.
So yeah. Hey, Julie, drive carefully. I think that the entire month should be full of celebration. And crazy work, because I have to get ready for Chicken Slayer. So, yeah. Yeah, no, my daughter's going to come visit me. My daughter, amazing child that she is, I'm going to crow for a minute about my kid.
You should.
So she graduated high school 12 years ago and was graduated as a sophomore, graduated as out of her freshman year of college, because her senior year of high school, she took all of her college classes. So she could be a sophomore when she entered the community college and go straight into the culinary program. And there was a spectacular culinary program there before it was shut down for some stupid reason because Oregon. And she got the way through and ran straight into adult onset massive depression and suffered for 2 years out on the streets. And then found herself and got herself back in and came home and finished her degree and got a pastry certification. And since then has been progressively working her way through more and more restaurants, honing her skills. And to the point that this last year she was head chef at 27 years old of a very fancy restaurant in Oregon. She has just recently applied for a job working with a chef who moved out here from New York, 2 Michelin stars.
I hear you in Oregon.
He's moved to Oregon. He's moved to Oregon and bought a small town building and has created this outrageously expensive restaurant. And this is like it's sort of like being picked in the first round of the NFL draft. She applied for the position as the pastry second, went and had a working interview with them, and then the chef pulled her out to do plating. And she's a rock star with plating. She does the most beautiful plating ever. And he worked with her for the rest of the evening. And she was offered a position not just as the pastry section, but working as one of the line chefs. And she's right at the top of the pay scale, 40 hours a week. No overtime, no crazy nonsense in the kitchen because this guy's a serious pro. The restaurant's been reviewed in Forbes and Vanity Fair and Bon Appetit, and this is all awesome. It is totally awesome. She's been working towards this. I'm so stinking proud of her. So proud. Because wow, she did not learn any of the cooking skills from me. Not one bit of it. So it's entirely her own skill and her work. So at 28, he was like, I can't believe you have all this experience at 28. How in the world are you this experienced? Because she's a hard worker. Yeah. So I'm proud about my kid. She's pretty amazing. So that makes me very happy. It's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
It's a good thing that she's going to come down and see me at the end of September. And all the gang down here is to deal with.
Oh, yes.
Young Donna on steroids.
She reached out to me. We've talked a little bit. My kitchen is open. She wants to cook for the people. She's here. And so I'm just going to turn my kitchen over to her. And that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. So I will say the other thing about July is that my son turned 18. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. So I will say the other thing about July is that my son turned 18.
Yes. So
I now have 4 adult children.
Yay.
I mean, for values of adults. And a good friend of mine, I mean, I was seeing her the other day. We've been friends for over 20 years now. She gave my son a car. And Courtney, bless her, in Maine, ferried this car home from Kentucky to Texas. And, I mean, there are things that our friends do for us that are just above and beyond. If I'd had any idea, I would have been like, we'll make arrangements.
I don't think Courtney knew that she had that sneaking up on her.
Yeah.
So she's a really high pain tolerance. She's in the chat if you want to beat her up without not taking care of herself.
So he's 18. He has a car. He texted me last night and was like, I'm going over to my buddy's house and we're going to put my car up on his lift because he's got buddies with lifts, so we can look at the exhaust system and see what's going on down there. And also I picked up a shift at work. So he works at a hardware store in a lumber yard. And they've been trying to paint the parking lot. Well, first of all, it's god-awful hot in Texas right now.
It's 106 outside right now.
So anytime that Johan and a couple of other guys have downtime, they've been like, go outside and paint. Which, first of all, I mean, my kid is nut brown right now. He's just so tanned. It's farmer's tan. But second of all, there's customers in the parking lot, and they're trying to cut the parking lot. So someone finally got a clue. I actually thought it was one of the managers, and then I found out that no, it was actually Johan that made the suggestion.
Oh, okay.
After the store was closed and it started to get dark and cool, and made the parking lot. There was a crew of 4 of them last night that painted until it was too dark to see. The parking lot said something not terribly well lit, but they had it sounds like they had fun. And he was wearing shorts, so he's got red paint up one side of his leg, which I had a moment this morning. But no, he's being very adult. He's making adult decisions and doing adult things. No sooner did he turn 18 than his boss was like, all right, you are getting trained on the forklift. So now he's forklift certified and working on the skid steer and the scissor lift. And it's like,
this entire month has been an exercise in resilience.
Yes.
It really has, hasn't it? I mean, just resilience in the face of a lot of things trying to get our way.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been trying to stay on track and on schedule. I had a computer thing prop up. Now, I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Because I've been having minor issues. And so I had gotten, during Prime Day in mid-month, I took advantage of the sale and I bought the parts that I knew I needed to upgrade the laptop so that it would actually function when I'm running heavy-duty programs on it.
Yeah.
Like the art stuff that I used to lay
stuff.
out the postcard.
Doing the postcard book that needs to be published by Friday.
So I started, like last week or so, I was working on the book and I would type something. And a minute or so later, it would show up on the screen. And it's at that point, I'm like, okay,
you got to do this.
So we went through that whole process, which took like 2.5 days to get all of that done. And then today, I'm staring down a deadline and going, okay, bring it now.
It's happening now. But you know what, though? Even with all the stuff, we've stayed on schedule.
Yes.
We have stayed on schedule.
Because we have these processes that we've been working on, and now we can lean on them and lean into them and be like, okay, we're here, and we can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. I will tell you, Courtney is incredibly funny when she's loopy on eggshells. So when we have another live stream, she can tell you all about her interesting visualizations of stories, which I got quite the dissertation on the way to the hospital yesterday.
I was getting little bits of
this
it.
is cool. This is really cool. It's like, I get to see your thought process. This is wonderful. And we still have to figure out if there's really music playing at night, because at home, she can hear music playing. I mean, she can hear music playing. I can't hear it in my room. And Nish was trying to listen to it late one night.
Yeah.
And he couldn't hear it either. So now I think we're probably going to go for a late night walk to try to figure out what's going on.
Dawn, I can just imagine that your mother is hilarious on pages. She's funny enough off of them.
Yeah, you don't give me Percocet. You think I'm direct now? You don't want me on Percocet. Yeah, Percocet is not okay.
I'm not sure I've ever been on anything like that that I was aware of later. So,
yeah, no, I'm forthright enough. Yes. Anyway. So, but we're still on schedule. I mean, I'm not quite done sorting the Imaginarium postcards, but we have a little time on those.
Right.
Oh my lord, Imaginarium postcards.
Yeah, no, that was
insane.
Oh my gosh.
Insane.
Friday, it just was like, boom. All of a sudden, all image requests, and I'm just trying to keep up with it. It slowed down to a trickle Saturday and Sunday, and I think I sent one out on Monday.
Yeah.
So I'll send them out on Mondays. Deadline's been out. They've got
right?
It's 50 words. But, no, wow, gosh. And then the submissions started to
pouring back in.
Yeah.
Pouring back in.
And Monday it was like, all these
submissions. So what we usually do with those is, as they come back in, I pop them open and make sure that they follow the rules exactly. And I tell you, when we were over, we're like 82 submissions that we come back out of 161 set up.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm being absolute stickler. 12-point typeface the entire document. 12-point Times New Roman, entire document. And 3 bits of information, title, name, email. If it's not on there, you're not in. End of story. And if it's like your title's in 16-point, you're not in. So,
well, and that's the
we
thing.
have to be that way.
Right. We're not necessarily going to be that brutal on if you're submitting a long-form story for an anthology.
But for this.
But the point of this is that we're trying to teach people to follow instructions. Read the instructions and follow the instructions. And then the other thing we had done this time, and we'll do it again when we do PCON, we've got to do it again when we do PCON, is having the image requests emailed. That way all 3 of us can access it, and I will actually be at PCON.
Yeah. So
it will be one of those things of I've got to manage those, and if I'm trying to hop over all different social media he is, I'm going to lose somebody, and I don't want to do that.
We don't lose those. So.
No. So I try my best to make sure nobody falls through the cracks. And we have systems in place to attempt to keep us from sending out duplicate images as prompts. We try to give a unique one to everybody. And it's just there's a lot of moving parts. And right now I'm dealing with the other side of it, trying to get the single servings of Liberty put together. And
we figured out a couple more things on the back end to make that faster too, like grabbing all the images for you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was easy because I had the dual monitors, so I could be fanning in one monitor and the other monitor be able to flip back and forth between stories and images, so I knew where I had to pull in to the document. So that made that a lot easier. The one thing that we'll ask for next time is when we're sending acknowledgments. When we tell people, yeah, you got in, ask them to send us if they have any stories published. Yeah. I need that information because I try to put a little promo thing in the back of the book.
Yeah.
So we can promote our authors so people can go find more that they've written. And right now I'm doing that by just going and trolling Amazon, but that's time you don't have.
You don't have that. So, but as probably take your question about whether or not you got through the format filter, I do. As I sort them into. If it's good, it goes right into the drive, and then I'm collecting up the ones. Hello, train. This is what life feels like this week. It's train early on. But what I'm doing is I'm collecting up a pile of the ones that are long. I'm trying to catch a bunch of them before we closed on Monday night. But I was traveling on Monday, most of the ones on Monday, and I would send them. So I tucked them all into, it's like if they're 52 words, or they got the hyphenation trap, or they didn't have their email on, or those kinds of things. I'm putting them all into one folder, and then I'm going to send out, okay, this is what you're not in. But just tell them why. Because I feel like we really need to tell people those things.
Giving people feedback is good, and I know a lot of people ask for it, and I think it's important for a learning and growing process that they need to have some feedback.
Yeah, they do. So I need to do that. I caught a bunch of them on Saturday and Sunday when submissions started coming in. It was like 42 words, hyphen trap, which is 2 words being counted as one. Or, wow, I'm not going to change your headline from 16 point to 12 point, even though I could. So I do that on 30 of them, and it takes an enormous amount of time. And, because I sent one back to a new guy who'd never done that before. He had it in like 16 point type. I was like, no. I said, you get 12 point time zero in the entire document. He's like, well, couldn't you change it? I said, why should I do your work? And he wrote back and went, you are completely right. I'm like, do exactly what they ask of you.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we're looking at 10 stories in an anthology, it's a different world than 20 stories in, because and the postcards are they're a lot of work.
They are an enormous amount of work. So, I love doing them.
Oh, no, I do too. I mean, going through and looking at what people write. And so John Van Stry has, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a poem, but it's free verse.
It's like free verse.
And it's beautiful, and it makes me cry every time I read it. I've read it like half a dozen times now.
Amazing.
And it's just phenomenal. 50 words, and this man has captured so much.
Well, we've gotten a couple like that this time. People have definitely said their game.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of them I was just like, oh, I was stunned when I read them. I was absolutely stunned. So,
I was not aware that there was a form that you could fill out to request a bite. I may need a copy of this. The chat has taken on a life of its own.
And this surprises who?
It doesn't surprise anyone. I think a form to request a bite would be useful.
Yeah, we should put together a pecan swag bag and put those in.
No.
No, we have enough.
Let's not do that.
We don't need more. So
only biting among friends.
Free heart cartilus. It's the best way to go, right? So
Yeah, no, unfortunately. Ian says he has no speakers, so he can't hear us talking about him.
Oh, goody. Yeah. So we are usual. It was late this week because I wasn't here. I usually get my Monday Monday or Tuesday morning stress monkey back and forth in the routine, which is kind of amusing because he perseverates about things and he thinks them through and he thinks by pacing back and forth the shop. So yeah, so he was very full of things to perseverate about today, which was rather cute after that. I didn't see the guys yesterday because of the live stream. I mean, I wasn't here because I was in the hospital with Courtney yelling at small children and scaring mothers. Yeah, the guys are pretty funny when they're left on their own.
I think it was a good live stream. And I mean, I know that you and I were talking about, okay, what are we going to talk about before this one? And basically updates because, I mean, this week because life and just stuff and these things happen.
Last week, I think I was exhausted.
You were exhausted. I've been out of sorts for the last month.
Why you would be out of sorts?
I am just trying my best to deal with stuff.
Well, okay, I'm going to just say you have a recalcitrant husband who's stubborn to the extreme, and then you have to deal with the VA on top of that. That is not a fair combination of things.
Right at the moment, fingers crossed, things seem to be sorted and moving in the right direction.
And that's right when there's going to be.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
The VA is horrible.
Okay, so I didn't tell you this yet. So
there's more.
The cardiologist that we talked to in the hospital and then told us that he should have another X-ray in 3 months.
Yes.
I had called the office and left a couple of messages.
Right.
They actually were communicating with me. It was lovely of them. So what they did was call and talk to Sanford, and they had offered to mail him something. What I had asked them. I said, sure, mail it because he has no idea what's going on. So when the mail got to us, I opened it. I'm dying of curiosity because that was not what I had asked for. But okay, what they sent us was a prescription for that cardiogram.
Really?
So now I'm going to take that to the VA because I don't know if the VA will cover it or the VA will have to order it themselves. But I have a script for the echo. So this is progress.
So you can go into the cardiologist you're seeing at the VA and going, they say it needs to be done.
Right.
Where are you, asshole?
Right.
I was raised by Battle-Axe nurse. I have no patience for doctors, not to their goddamn job. So.
But yeah, we've made progress, and he actually seems to be feeling days. He's taken initiative on a couple of things, and still sleeping a lot, but I think that's just his body's been through a lot. So
yeah, he just needs to.
Yeah,
he needs to rest and let his body recover.
Hey, Brennan, glad you could join us. Yeah, no, and it's just. I'm just trying to deal with everything. And because it feels like just every time one thing starts to calm down, something else pops up.
Yeah.
But, it's whack-a-mole.
It's kind of feeling like whack-a-mole.
Yeah,
a little.
Yeah.
So I'm rather suddenly going to be taking a trip up to Oregon at the end of August.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you don't have a lot of friends who've known you since you were 18 years old. No.
I know I don't.
You cannot make new old friends.
No, you can't.
You can feel like you've known somebody forever. Because I feel like I've been in Texas forever. Or is that just because
it's been so hot?
It's been so hot and it's the endless bills. And I just feel like I've been here forever. I do feel like I've been part of this community for a long time. But it's happened long before I got here.
Yes.
But I have other communities that I've had since I was 18. Yeah. And there's only two people left in my life that remember me from that time. And so One of them is very ill, and I was very concerned because he was talking about how comfortable now with the idea of going. And for somebody who is an absolute rabid atheist, believes there's nothing after this and was going to live every moment as long as he possibly could, years ago, to have reached this point, because he's had major health issues. He had COVID twice, 20 years ago, to have reached this point, because he's had major health issues. He had COVID twice, quadruple bypass surgery, pneumonia, his heart health is bad, and he's on oxygen.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be going back to Dorian.
I'm very glad you're going to be able to get
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, so let's see the grandkids.
Yeah.
So that happened last week of August, right? 2 weeks before we got, oh boy, let's have some more. Yeah. So it's, I think it's important to remember to go on to people who matter to you.
I'm like, I need to go to Oregon, so I need to go see my grandma.
Yeah.
And I would like to do that before she's ill.
Yeah.
I'd like to go and spend some time with her. And I'm just, right now I can't. Right now it's
No.
Sanford's dad has been having some health issues, and I told his mom the other day, he's like, I can't travel right now. It's not time or money, I literally can't travel.
Physically, so.
And that's, I can't leave him right now.
No.
So it's going to be wild. It's just one of those things of you kind of have to pick times, and when you do have the opportunity to really jump on it.
Yeah. Well, and remember, it's weird to reach the age. I don't feel like I'm 60. When did that happen?
I don't feel like I'm 50.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, in my brain, I'm still somewhere in my mid-30s, you know? So, because the rest of me sort of feel like broken up disaster of the mid-30s. So, but it's, when I think about it, that I've known this man for 40 years, it's like, where did that all go? You know? So, it just, and I've had too many people leave life suddenly, but I have not said things to them he said.
Yeah.
And it happens more and more as you get to this age, which I find really annoying. So,
I wrote a post for Sarah Hoyt for blog, According to Hoyt, a while back, and she posted it yesterday. I didn't realize it until somebody shared it and tagged me in on it.
Like, what? Oh.
And
did I do that?
It's been, actually wrote it before Sanford had a heart attack. That's been that long.
Oh.
And it's talking about hope and remaining human. And I'm talking, in it I was talking about raising children in the future of humanity and how you have to have hope. And the other thing, and this was kind of influenced on what we've done here, was I was talking about building communities.
Yes.
And in-person communities. And I think that there's one thing to have internet communities, because you're talking about having friends that knew you way back. I don't have any of that. My ex did a really good job of severing all of my communal ties. So my one remaining old time community is the Baines Bar, and that very online community that then became in person when I finally was able to go to people.
Yeah.
So, but it was never in person all the time. But I was looking at this and wrote out kind of instructions in the post on how to create in-person community, which is basically say, I'm going to be here, y'all want to meet up, have snacks, and do it.
Well, and,
because that's what we've been doing with the Saturday Supper, which is growing out of control.
It's also BroadCast, the Troublemaker online thing. We're like, guys, you can go have dinner with people.
And that's exactly what I was thinking about, was that whole, let's create these little islands of hope. Because I know.
is coming off.
San Antonio
August
in
19th.
mid-August,
Yeah.
And there were some people that did something in Virginia.
In Virginia,
it
there's
was.
a Virginia straight together.
And we can do other ones.
Yeah.
There's some people in Iowa. I should get them in touch with my aunt and uncle and cousin. My aunt got married late in life and had children late in life. So my young cousin, her oldest, is the same age approximately as my oldest daughter. And she just announced that she's pregnant, due in October. So, yeah.
January was chilly.
So it's just wonderful because, and one of my friends online, his wife is expecting. And between these two beautiful young ladies who are so happy about their incipient motherhood, it just made me think of that, how important that is to have support that we've talked about.
Well, and we've certainly proved it out this last month.
Yeah.
Because
being able to take care of each other.
Being able to take care of each other through all of this. And I think it's not just having community, but it's also having good, solid community.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's really easy to have a group of friends.
Right.
That's simple. But having friends you can actually rely on.
Yeah.
Who will drop everything and go into a grocery store for you. Because God knows. I hope you realize how I adore you, Parky. Because not everybody can get me a grocery store. But it's that finding people who reciprocate, who rotate from the group, but also get back in whatever way they can.
Right.
Constant give and take and shifting the load around.
Yeah.
Among your peers and things, and knowing that if something goes really bad, somebody will bring you pizza. And not only that, but sit with you and go, yeah, this sucks. Or, this is great, But it's the kind of people you put in the community. As I get older, I get a lot more discerning about who I will let inside the castle gate. You can visit, but some people will not be staying.
Well, having boundaries is really, really important and very difficult. I think we've talked about this before, how, especially for women, having boundaries is kind of culturally discouraged.
Yeah, is that weird?
Because we're supposed to just take care of everybody. But it's not
for you.
Yeah. So, and it's one of those things of, I was trying to figure out if there was a night when I could give you guys food. And yesterday, I was not sure what was going on with this.
Yesterday, what it was is she thought she was going to actually get up and have dinner and go get prescription, but Courtney did a classic boom and ouch. And God, I think the first rest she's had in months.
Excellent.
So, I mean, she was.
Well, and that's what she needs at this point. It's going to take her body some time to recover. Just the stress and pain.
But this morning, she was like, well, also friends getting a massage certificates. And they were like, cool, go get a massage because she's been up in pain for 3 weeks. Right. And not being able to do anything and just kind of being with a stick. But this morning when she got up, she actually had good color to her face. She's still loopy from the anesthesia. Yeah. She's kind of hilarious when she's loopy. I mean, it's pretty funny, gotta say. So, I mean, but finding those people who will go, that sucks, let's go deal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, if you aren't going to find them right away, you have to keep trying. Yeah. Because it's hard enough to make friends with an adult. And so you have to make that effort. And I was being funny in the post. I said, think of it as going on a quest. A quest for friends. But it's really, you have the friends that are questing with you. Yes. They're the ones that go on the quest with you.
Weirdly enough, you just kicked me into thinking about something else I used to do.
Oh?
So, and I don't know if it still exists or they do it here in Texas, but there was this thing in Oregon where, and the high school kids, it was weird how I formed this odd little community of high school kids because they were just so full of life and happy and artists and interested in the world in a way that a lot of the surrounding weren't. They were negative. But they looked into this thing of geocaching.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever done geocaching?
I haven't. Well, okay.
You guys know what geocaching is? A quick explanation. If you don't know anything about it, this was the coolest thing. People have hidden little treasure boxes and things all over the world. All over the world. And you can get an app where they tell you where the geocaches are in your neighborhood, and you can go find them, and you can add a little thing or put in a little note or something like that, and you leave it where it is for other people to find, and you add a list of places that you found. So,
and it's around before apps.
Yes, it was around a long time. It was like the people who did map
right
to learn how to navigate with maps and stuff. It was so cool. And so we would go geocaching in the dark, in the middle of the night, hot on coffee. And for me, it was like, we're on a quest. Yes, we're questing. You know, I was like, why are we doing fun things like this?
So I never did the geocaching, but there was a geocache at the library where I worked. And one of my things I would do periodically was check in and make sure it was where it was supposed to be, and that the squirrels hadn't gone off or something, because it was in a rock wall in New England.
Oh, okay.
Behind a loose rock. So we just kind of peek in on it, and every now and then I'd see people come and find it. And,
I love that.
And I always liked watching that. I wasn't taking part in it myself. I didn't have time. I mean, by the time I found out about it, I had kids and just wasn't that mobile.
Well, you know, so building your community is like geocaching. You have to go on a quest.
Yeah.
You know, go find the right coordinates and find the treasure.
Yes.
So.
And sometimes you inadvertently create a tribe, as Dawn is talking about in my comments.
How did that happen? You know, it's like,
yeah, exactly. A lot of the times you aren't necessarily starting out, that's what you're trying to do, but it kind of happens on the way. And I think it's important. I think that
it is.
I think that it's having these connections, having these found families is so important in our lives.
In weird little places. Mm-hmm. It's odd how the smallest decision can lead you into a big tribe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I find myself, so I did the Master Naturalist thing partly because I really wanted to do it. I've always wanted to do it. I want that certification of Master Naturalist to be able to say, I am, and I am here. But along the way, I also discovered that I've got this new little community of people that geek on the same things that I geek on, of plants and bugs. And I mean, where else can you be out for a wander with a dozen people and suddenly there are shrill squeals and then everybody's running towards the snake? And the snake, not being a dummy, is going, I'm out of here.
I had this happen at an SCA event when I was doing the mental agent stuff. We were walking down a path at a site we've never been to before, and suddenly all of us started shrieking at the same time because of the moss that was hanging off the tree. Which is, I know, moss. How exciting is moss? Oh, and it's one that you've been looking for forever that gives you neon green.
Yes.
You know,
I know what you're talking about.
Lost their goddamn minds. You know, it's like, oh my god, that's moss. You know, it's like, and you know,
I know what you're talking about.
Lost their goddamn minds. You know, it's like, oh my god, that's moss. You know, it's like, and of course we knew what it was, but everyone else was like, what is wrong with you people? It's like, it's the moss. Like, you're excited.
And that's when you know that you have found your tribe. It's because you have this weird connection.
Weird shrieking thing.
Over neon moss.
Over moss that gives you neon. Because people are like, everybody wore mud brown, and they're like, no, they did not.
They did not. They absolutely did not. They had madder, and they had indigo, and they had all these wonderful, wonderful shades of yellows and oranges and blues and reds.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah. Weirdly enough, I was involved in a huge project where we did this giant embroidery piece where we hand-dyed all of these hand-dyed all the wool into the colors that we needed to do this giant tree of life of the growth of the kids in the SCA, which was really cool. Took over my life for 6 months and learned all about the various dye stuffs and, you know, onion skin and it's flaming yellow, but it fades from that, so it's hard to fix. And then we did this entire gigantic embroidery, which it can be found online. But the fun part was trying to figure out how to get all the colors we needed in you know, and how to, and which was fascinating because green, weirdly enough, was one of the hardest ones.
It is.
It's and so, but it was great fun. And really stressful all at the same time because we had a very limited time frame and a huge amount of embroidery to do because it's 9 feet tall.
Yeah, that's a lot of handwork.
But we just sat a whole bunch of people there, and
Well, it's like when I was very small, we would go to the Grange with great grandma, and the ladies would all sit around the quilts.
Yes,
and they'd all be talking, and then it was like rings of the quilts, and the ladies were around that, and then orbiting around them was all of us kids.
Yes,
and we were usually inside because it was Oregon coast, and it was probably usually raining. I can remember playing outside a few times, but not very much. Usually we were inside.
Yes,
In this big gymnasium, huge open room.
Yes,
and I always wanted to find something like that when I got older, and I don't know.
There's quilting bees all over the place.
I don't want to quilt. I have quilted. I actually do know how to quilt. I have quilted, but I don't have time. I don't have a fabric stash anymore. Okay, I have a baby fabric stash because I thrifted some fabric.
I have a baby fabric stash from where I was. But something I was thinking about this morning in terms of community, one of the things I really miss from my years in the Pacific Northwest is that I had found a wonderful community of women in the SCA. It was like, if you're in the SCA for a long time, there's a lot of people who go through just casual, they're casually involved. But there's that 10% on the top that sticks around. And there was a group of women I knew who were all artists in their own right in different disciplines. And we would get together and we would just have the best conversations and talk about the stuff we were doing. And, we would have like an arts gathering where we would all come together at Liz's house or something, and it was Liz Edding's house, and do our thing, but do our thing together. And talk about it. We would all come together at Liz's house or something, and it was Liz Edding's house, and do our thing, but do our thing together. And talk about it and bounce off each other. Wow. So I had this moment of researching. It's like, well, what is the local group like here? Because I have the perfect stitch and ditch place.
You do, and I was going to say there was they didn't call it that. I forget what they call it, fiber arts. I think it wasn't just fiber arts. But at the library, there was a group that met at the library, and there were knitters and crocheters and ladies that did watercolor paints, and one lady did paisanki, and they would get together. I think it was once a month, and they would go to the upstairs room in this little New England library, and it had snacks and coffee and drinks, just do stuff, and it was lovely. And I was not part of it per se because I was the librarian, so I was more just kind of like checking in, make sure it's good. But I loved watching that. And the other thing too was that my boss put me, when I was a librarian, he put me in charge of the book club. And the book club was mostly little old ladies, including one lady that was 95 and had been to see the Maltese Falcon in the theater.
How cool.
So when I picked the Maltese Falcon as a book for us to read, because I was trying to think outside of the box on books for this group, we all had such a wonderful time because for the discussion group section of it, we'd all got together after we had read it. We mostly just got her to talk about what it had been like. Because she lived through that. And so these are the kinds of things that they're not easy to find anymore because I feel like there's not a lot of groups and clubs. We aren't joiners the way we used to.
Well, and there's the social groups that kind of disappeared back in the 80s.
Yeah.
There's no Oddfellows, and there's no Rebecca's, and there's no nobody else.
I know people that are involved in the ladies' division of the Masons. I can't remember the name of it off my head. And she talks about it all the time. And so there are still things out there, but they're definitely not what they used to be.
No, they're not.
I mean, my grandmother, that was the Grange. I still have her Grange cookbook. That's one of the things she's done for me.
Thousands of years is the people who are stationary taking care of the kids form these social groups.
Right. And then we got so mobile as a culture, the American culture, starting in the the 1920s, 1930s, and everybody started moving, and that broke up the big extended families, and it broke up a lot of the. You had to kind of be together. You wanted to or not. Sometimes I don't know that it was always good, but and churches are the other thing. That church groups were huge.
I mean,
you were
that
always
still
part
exists.
of.
I mean, that
To some
aspect,
extent, yes, but even that is going away.
well, it's different. I do know that. I mean, anyway. Yeah, one of the things I do find that I am missing, because I am surrounded by authors, and you're all lovely folk. I gotta say, all of you are great. You just talk about words all the time, and and I'm okay with that. But the thing I miss is working with somebody trying to figure out their first teaching, and going, no, you can do this. Oh my God, it's fast. It's like, it's one thing that I love about the SCA, and also started to hate about the SCA, because I've been in the same area for 35 years, is that it's always somebody's newest. It's always their first event, right? And it's always I don't know how to do this. So the teaching and providing the space for research, I used to do that a lot. Because I had my coffee shop, and we'd meet there, and people would come over, and I'd just be doing my thing, and they'd say, well, how do I do that? I'm like, well, that's how you do that. I don't have that.
No.
And so I'm having to create this a fabulous research library sitting right over there. All those books, wonderful historical research. And there is a local SCA group, so I was like,
do you want to do that again? Or
just totally good.
The other thing, too, is that, I mean, there's ways to make connections doing, like, the art walk and finding people, and even the farmer's market, because there's people there that sell
a lot of people do crafty stuff. I'm not a crafty person.
No, I know you're not.
I just...
But this is the way this is the only way I think of the make connections outward.
Well, they have one Thursday a month arts night for the SCA. Outward. Well, they have one Thursday a month arts night for the SCA at the Campus for the Arts, which I've never been to. So I thought, no, I can just wander in. I don't have to tell who I am.
No.
Because generally,
just wander in. You're
scary. I'm totally new.
You are new.
So last
Here, not
5 minutes. Don't out me. Shh, quiet. No, it's part of the problem too. Coming into the group in the SCA is I walk in with a whole lot of titles, which I would just assume whatever. It was around a long time. It happens. So.
Well, and maybe with this group you can get away with them not finding out for a while.
There is one Fierga in the entire SCA. I was the only person allowed to have that name. Because my friend Liz was the Laurel Queen at Arms in charge of heraldry in the SCA. And I said, am I the only Fierga? And she's like, likely would let there be two. So, actually, I find it kind of hilarious. But still, I mean, it's kind of fun. So,
I was very attracted to the concept of the SCA. And when I finally got to the point where I could actually participate, I had seen the underbelly and decided I didn't want to, because I had already been involved in reenacting, and I wanted fun and not So, I mean, the whole thing with having the absolute period correct is...
Well, that's not the SCA. Sorry, that's not the group.
Well, I know, but that's what the one...
Mistress Laurel Sea Checkers, as they're referred to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Well, that was what Sanford had found when he tried to move from Germany to Ohio.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
And
the cultures change in the kingdom.
Right.
The cultures change.
And then the brief encounter that I had with the SCA in Ohio was kind of like that. And I'm like, I've done reenacting. I really don't want to do reenacting.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
I don't know that I want to do the reenacting. I just like the community of the focus on the various sites.
Right.
So it's like that. I need to go take class in something. It might come to scare time. Like when that happened. It happened from November to December.
That is what I did for the Master Naturalist, and it was fantastic.
So
I knew exactly what I wanted. So it wasn't like I had to go out and find it. I knew what I wanted.
Like right here. I think it's important. It helps with your receipts. I think we are having issues with our internet connection. I'm not really sure why, but it's being very janky. So It's very kind of hopping and stuttering a bit on this.
So I haven't been paying that much attention to I've been looking at the comments because I can't necessarily read them on the monitor all the way over there.
Yeah.
So I haven't been paying attention. That might be actually what it is that there's too much. We'll just shut that up because
It's not just that. It's
too many things pulling on the Wi-Fi.
Well, we get have people pretty hard. So
I don't know.
So, but anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of those like things the kind of community we need to have because I really think all of us need to play more.
Yeah, and we've talked a few times about game night and whatnot. We've certainly got enough games around.
Yeah.
But what we don't have is the time.
Unfortunately, right now, time is very limited, which is.
And we're all introverted. Time to just recharge and not be around people.
No, really?
Yes, really. So it's not like we can do something.
If we could play a game from across the room from each other and throw cards at the table. We can text each other from opposite side of the room what our move is.
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious. We're pretty funny. So,
but yeah, and the other thing too is that even when you have one community group,
yeah,
I mean, I have y'all, and I have now the naturalists, which is a whole different. That doesn't necessarily have a lot of overlap. Mm-hmm. So I think that being able to feed multiple facets of yourself is important too.
Yeah, and it's God bless Emma for carrying on the seat because it's fun to what she's doing, how she's growing as a seamstress and what she's learning. It's just wonderful. And it's also great to go, would you please go deal with it? I don't want to answer that question again for the 45th time.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's a wonderful lesson. And it's more like that. All right.
And while I have done sewing in the past, I'm not what I would, and it even remotely a seamstress. And although I enjoy the concept, and I've been watching videos on people sewing and going, I could do, I don't have time.
Yeah, time.
I mean, I absolutely could do a cute apron, but I don't have time.
Mm-hmm. No, that's okay.
I almost gave my sewing machine away. Somebody said recently that they needed a sewing machine. I'm like, I got one. I'm not using it.
No.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Well, it's like you don't know someplace you could come sew.
Right, and yeah, because as often as I've used the sewing machine since I bought it, which is all of like 3 times. So, because I always think I'm going to do, but I'm not going to do.
That's something I saw in my mother's house all over of all the things we thought she was going to do. But she didn't do.
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of of the opinion that I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to
I just focus on, okay, I've already got this, and this. I'm going to do these.
Yes.
And it's like, I almost started on the last 2 nights with the computer stuff. I have actually had downtime, which has been really strange.
And it was that weird.
I don't know what to do with myself.
What do I do?
And I almost started tearing my library apart to reorganize it because I couldn't find something.
You have to do something.
And I made myself not, because of that I make a big mess. And it would turn into a huge thing instead of just, let's do this for a half an hour. Yeah. I'm going to have to figure it out. I need to do it, but I'm getting it.
I get it. I get it.
So,
it makes you know.
Yeah.
It's like you decided to major clean and halfway through you decided to go major cleaning. So, yeah. Yeah, I would love to come visit Anna. I'd love to come play with her. I'd like her to just like come here and I'd like to keep her for a week and have her bring all the things she needs help with fitting on because you cannot fit yourself.
Yes.
Because it's like, I'm trying to figure out how to make something happen. But it's also, I am completely booked until the end of December.
Yeah, you are.
I am completely, totally.
You want to run ragged, and I would really like to see you be able to take some downtime. And I know you don't have time, but I would like to see that happen.
Yeah.
Like block out 4 hours here and there to just every week or so.
I do that every now and then. I go home and I watch, bad soap TV at night. Although I've been doing paperwork lately in the evening. But,
Well, brain candy's good.
oh, brain candy's good. I've just been,
I mean, my relaxation time recently has been reading Thomas Sowell's Conquests and Cultures.
Thomas Sowell.
Right, which has been wonderful, but it's not exactly fluffy.
Restful.
Restful.
And Jordan Peterson is starting to release his biblical series, the new one.
Yes.
Which I desperately want to sit down. It's the group one.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've discovered I can't listen to them while I'm working.
No, because you pay attention.
Right.
Because plus the volcano in Iceland is just so gorgeous and amazing. So I've been,
Yeah.
it's that. And but what's nice is I have people who are all very interesting. And I can go to them and say, so what are you doing? So I can get to listen to you doing Master Naturalist, which is really fun. So
yeah, and I'm like, John's like, she's been working her way through Kindle Unlimited Smut, and I'm like, you need to PM me a couple of titles that you like because I need some brain candy. And this is how we find the stuff that's not Sturgeon's Law, because most of it's Sturgeon's Law. I asked, actually, I think it was just last night, in a couple of places, I was asking for recommendations of nonfiction. Because I haven't been reading fiction. I've been having trouble reading fiction.
Yeah.
Because I wants to do that. So nonfiction I've been reading, but I don't have any targeted research right now.
Okay.
So I was asking for recommendations, and it's fascinating.
I have this marvelous book.
Yes, and that's the thing, it's
like
fascinating what people send me. You should read this.
Mm-hmm. It's all about how the Middle East and Asia saw developing America.
Ooh,
it's
does
fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So very dense and crunchy.
I don't mind dense and crunchy. I mean, the one problem I run into is I'll throw books in my wish list on Amazon when I run across them. They look interesting, but I don't have time. So I'll put them into the wish list, and then I'll come back later and I'll want to pick them up. And it's like, I have one in there right now. It's called Eating and Drinking in Roman Britain.
Oh, yeah.
It's a textbook. And to buy the ebook is like $70. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
I think I have. I need to look and see if I have it. I have a copy of Dining with William Shakespeare. By Matt Lorman, which is a cookbook and a history book at the same time. And from the time period of, or I should give you a copy of Davier, which is the cookbook of, there's some, look at us sharing ideas.
Right, but and this is the thing, is that I like to get recommendations from people of things they've enjoyed, because I hate go on Amazon and doom scroll and be like trying to reviews, and before I spend, if I'm going to spend $10 or $15 on a book, I want to get some substance out of it.
Yeah.
Actually, honestly, the only really disappointing book I read recently was a library book, so I didn't pay anything for it other than wasting my time on it. Mary Roach's Fuzz, do not recommend.
Okay.
That. Yeah, lots of reasons, and that's probably a whole long review.
Smut books in the chat. They're
Well,
completely
totally.
That's
That's
fine.
completely nothing wrong with smut. There's absolutely nothing wrong with smut.
No, there's nothing wrong with smut.
A little smut well applied is a good thing.
Wouldn't it be, though? Oh my goodness.
That's what we need. Historical smut. I'm not quite serious.
Yeah, you are.
Oh.
We would really love that. So, as I have Latina's on Great Pleasure to help too, which is fabulous. It's a period thing on eating and the different humors and stuff.
Well, and the fun thing is when you're talking about the books that are now in public domain,
Yeah.
I can usually go and find those on my library and that sort of thing, which is fantastic for some of the really, really old cookbooks.
I will tell you, the old Victorian cutting manuals and things that I can find on Gutenberg are like, I need a printer because I don't do those kinds of books. I have to have it in front of me.
Yes, you need paper.
I need paper and I need a printer. I need a printer because my printer is finally going to go. But I need to get a laser because it's the amount of that I need to do.
Yeah.
And that will come eventually. And just get these printed out and bound so I can use them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
because they're just, Victorian tailoring is the hardest tailoring I've ever done. It is so hard and so precise and so wonderfully punchy.
Yeah, they had reached this like pinnacle of, and again, I've been watching. Sorry,
sexy mummy.
Speaking of punchy,
sorry, this total non sequitur.
Isn't there a song about detachable penis?
I think so.
Because that's what popped into my head. About me.
You know what? It's 7 o'clock. Sorry, I'm going to just derail that thought completely. I think we should end.
On that note.
Thank you so much.
Wait. Do we have announcements or anything?
Well, Liberty Left of Liberty coming out on Friday, the 7/28, and following Friday, Moggies in Space.
Yay, Moggies in Space.
Moggies in Space, Volume 1 of 3. So, are coming up. So, and then we have a couple of things closing. But other than that, I think we have enough for our fight. Thank you.
We have a lot.
Yeah.
But we will manage.
We will manage because that's what we do.
Yes.
So go
Thank
find
you
your
all.
sexy mummy and
Yes. Thank you all for coming and joining us and listening to our silliness.
Oh my God.
Have a good night.